I'll convene the meeting to start. I'm Bill Lupini, Superintendent of SAU 21 Schools and the presiding officer of the Hampton Falls School Board until the reorganization to follow. I'm invoking an emergency meeting of the Hampton Falls School Board. I have determined that immediate action is imperative and the physical presence of a quorum is not reasonably practical due to COVID-19, as per Governor Chris Sununu's Emergency Order Number 16, temporary prohibition on scheduled gatherings of 10 or more attendees. Additionally, Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12 specifically suspends the physical quorum requirement of 91A2 and also waives the requirement under 91A2 3B that a physical meeting location be available to the public, and specifies that state and local government bodies are permitted and encouraged to conduct meetings through electronic means while preserving, to the extent feasible, the public's right to notice of such meetings and ability to observe and listen contemporaneously. As such, this meeting is being conducted remotely via Zoom and is accessible by the public in real time by logging in online or by telephone using access information that was provided on the agenda. Throughout this meeting, each member participating remotely must identify those present at the location from whence that member is participating via 91A23C. So members, if there's someone else at location in the room, you must disclose that. In addition, a roll call vote will be held on all votes per 91A23E. So each and every vote that we take this afternoon will be a roll call vote.
Well, I just have one quick comment. Alan, are you on the phone calling in? If he could respond that way. I did do a search on the phone number that's showing up, and I believe it's Mr. Janik. We just need to make sure that he can at least respond to us, letting us know that he hears us, or he has a way to raise his hand on here to let us know that he has questions when it comes time for public comment. Because I cannot tell if he is on a computer or if he is, Alan is on his computer.
Right.
He has responded. It doesn't appear that Mr. Janik is responding to us.
Okay. So I'm going to move forward, okay?
Okay.
At our point where I can do that, Rhonda?
I believe that we need to know that he can interact with us.
Well, he certainly can use the chat feature as well to interact with us.
We need him to confirm that. Alan has confirmed, but the second attendee, Mr. Janik, has not done anything to confirm that.
Rhonda, what happens if we don't get confirmation?
We have to be able to, the public needs to they need to be able to participate. We need to know that they're able to participate. Now, if it's a matter of him just not responding and just choosing to observe, if he could just confirm that, that would be great. We could move forward. If it's an error on his end, if he could simply email me and let me know, that would also be helpful. I'm going to assume that he's calling in instead of logging in on a computer. If that's the case, if he would just simply send an email or something letting us know that you know, he can hear us just fine, then we would be all set to go. But until he does that, we're kind of at a standstill, I believe. Dave, is there a way to just check with him on audio to see that we could like open up audio during public comment, that way we know that he does hear us and that he.
Oh, this is Matt. Hey, Henry. I actually am, but I'm on.
That's not him. No, we have options to rename or remove him as an attendee. There's no promotion. There's no ability to promote into a panelist.
Would it be helpful if there was an additional attendee and they could confirm that, you know, someone else who calls in by phone, if then they could be someone who could confirm that we have access to input from people on phones?
Yes.
Yeah, my understanding is we don't need each and every person to be able to do that, but if someone indicates that they have access, then we can assume that it's something on the other person's end and we can continue.
Yes.
So we can put Alan up into a panelist just to make sure that he can communicate. Would that be?
I believe Alan has sent several chats.
He has. Alan can hear us.
Right. But Alan's also logging in on a computer.
We could ask Alan to call in by phone and then he could confirm that. That phone callers could communicate.
So wasn't John Bailey able to do that? He called
He
in.
was.
I called in. At first I was muted, and then Rhonda or someone unmuted me. So I was
And
able.
you can confirm, Rhonda and David, that 617-908-1428 is not muted.
Yes, I can confirm that.
And I have an email from Mr. Janik where he provided that phone number as a form of being able to reach him. So that's why I do feel confident that that's whose number that is.
Okay.
But is that enough confirmation to move forward, or do we still need the 617 number to acknowledge somehow that they're participating?
We need to make sure that the public is able to, yes, participate when available at the meeting, that we are, as long as he can hear us, that's all we really, you know, that's the main thing.
So that email is not enough confirmation is what you're saying?
I have no email from him confirming that's.
You
Okay.
just know that's the number.
You just
don't
know
have a
that's the number.
confirmation this afternoon.
Right, right.
Correct.
Is
Correct.
the fact that Alan can participate enough to document that our line, that our video is open? Given
think
what
it
you
probably
heard
could.
yesterday?
I mean, I think it's to me, it makes sense because Alan has acknowledged that he can hear us and that he participate by contacting us.
So given what you heard yesterday, you believe that's enough to move forward per what was explained to you out of NHSBA about the governor's most recent ruling, correct?
Yes, as long as people have a way to communicate with you, whether it be by email, through the chat message, or whatever, and that they can hear us, you know, and we know that Alan can hear us. John Bailey called in by phone number and can hear us. They said if you have a user that is unable to hear you and it's an error on their end, that's nothing that we can be, that's
Okay.
nothing that's on
So,
us.
so we've attempted to email this individual. We've asked this person on the line to contact us if they're just not able to respond to our questions, and we've received no contact from them. Is that correct?
I have not emailed him. I will
What?
email him right now.
Okay.
I just called the number and got no answer.
Okay. So I would say we've satisfied the requirements of what NHSBA explained to you yesterday, and I would recommend we move forward. I'll just say if we're not able to do that probably in the next few minutes or so, we're not going to be able to complete this agenda because we have a 5 o'clock meeting with the high school board.
If it's helpful, maybe should I just call? Let me call on my cell phone this meeting and try to join as a phone participant.
Okay.
Rhonda, this is Greg. I have a question for you.
Mhm.
If the internet goes down, I'm getting some unstable messages from my provider. Can I just then go back and relog back in and get into the meeting?
You should be able to. You'll fall into the attendees portion, which is the public portion. And then whenever I see the numbers increased, I will pull you in as a panelist. I know on my end, my computer, I think everybody's, on the internet right now.
Right.
A couple of times mine has kind of slowed and said that it stopped.
Are you getting, are your picture or video frames freezing?
Sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, mine is Greg.
Okay. Just,
Mine
that's
is
what
as well.
mine's doing right now. I just want to put it out there.
Right. So another thing, just to let you know, when you're looking at this panel of, I believe most people, when you first log into Zoom, whoever is speaking is the person that you see on the screen. There is a little tab in the upper right-hand side that you can click that shows a galley view that shows everybody that's in attendance at the meeting, as long as they have their video open.
Hello?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
There's Dr.
Yes.
Hobbs.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my personal phone.
You're 603-953, David?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Thank you.
So we now have 2 people who've been able to come into this meeting and communicate with us. I believe, as it was explained to me by Rhonda, who attended the NHSBA session yesterday, and by Barrett Christina in my conversations with him, that we have satisfied the requirements of moving forward with this meeting. We've asked this individual to contact us. We've tried to reach out to this individual. That person has been non-responsive, but we have 2 other people who've been able to access the meeting. So my recommendation, Rhonda, unless you disagree with me based on the session you sat in yesterday, is that we move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was through the part about meeting remotely, must identify the location and whether there's anybody else at that location, and then we're going to hold all votes by roll call vote. And it's now part of the meeting where I call for the nominations for the board chair. Are there nominations for the position of chair?
This is John Bailey. I nominate Greg Parrish for board chair.
So we have a nomination for Greg Parrish. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mark Lane. Second from Mark Lane. Are there other nominations for the role of chair? Seeing none, I'm going to close those nominations for chair and ask Rhonda to conduct a roll call vote on the nomination of Greg Parrish as chair.
Okay, Greg.
I don't know if this matters, but I'm an I. I can't hear anything at the moment.
I couldn't hear anything there for a minute either.
I just got people back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I tapped out for a minute.
okay.
Stopped. So I don't know
Mine-
what you said.
Okay, so I'm just trying to call your names to get your vote so I can record it. Greg Morrow. But Greg, you're going to need to turn your microphone on because it looks like your microphone is off, so I cannot hear you.
I know. I vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Greg Parrish,
Yes.
Mark Lane,
Yes.
John Bailey,
Yes.
Jason Farias.
Yes.
Before I turn this over to Greg, Jason,
Yeah.
welcome you. This is how we do business all the time, so welcome to the board. I'll turn this over to Mr. Parrish for election of the board vice chair and the remainder of the agenda.
Thanks, Bill. Can I get a nomination for vice chair?
Greg, I'll nominate Greg Merrill.
Can I get a second?
I'm
I
sorry,
second.
who made the nomination? I didn't catch
Mark
Mark
Lane.
Lane.
and who made the second?
John Bailey.
Thank you.
What did I do to make you guys mad at me?
So Greg, we're going to start off with you. Greg Morrow, your vote.
Yes.
Greg Parrish,
We have can't hear.
Greg Parrish.
If you're taking a vote, yes.
Okay. Mark Lane,
Yes.
John Bailey,
Yes.
Jason Farias.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg, for doing that.
Oh,
Now, Bill, I just need to go down the list here for the various committees, correct?
Yes, sir, and I'm happy to help you with that.
Okay.
So we have a chair and vice chair.
Welcome
Chair, I
aboard,
took
Greg.
Greg Merrill, okay.
I need a nomination for SAU Operations Committee. Currently, well, the last couple of years, that has been Pam. Is there anybody interested in representing Hampton Falls on that committee?
About 4 meetings per year, generally 5:30 timeframe. This is the group that sets the agenda for the joint board and acts essentially as the finance committee for the SAU budget.
This is John Bailey. I'm happy to do it. I was Pam's alternate. If someone else wants it, I'm happy to step aside.
Bill, now, do we nominate again, or is this
No,
more?
you can just go down. You can just go down the list, and then
Okay.
we'll take the list as a whole at the end, Greg.
Okay, so if anybody's interested other than John, would love to hear your name if you are. If not, I'm going to put John down as that representative. John, you win.
I am. Thanks.
Anyone interested in being the alternate to the operations committee? And essentially this role is filled, or you participate in the meetings if our representative is unable to attend.
I will. If nobody signs up, you can put me down for that, Greg.
Jason, you win.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay.
The next committee is the policy committee.
Which meets about every other month. This is the group that recommends out policy recommendations to each of the boards from the joint board, generally around policies that are required by law. But those are, again, 4:30 meetings, generally about an hour. And we go through a series of policies to recommend out to the group, or to groups. Excuse me.
Greg, you were the alternate last year. Would you be willing to take on this role?
To be honest with you, I don't think I can be on a committee that's going to be during regular hours.
Yeah, that 4:30 time frame.
I'm really maxed out during the regular day.
Okay. I'll take that one.
Great.
Greg Mara, will you continue to, would you like to be the alternate?
Sure.
Okay.
As we just said to the Seabrook board here, the sweetest words of the day, we do not need a C negotiations committee, and we do not need a CESPA negotiations committee. So you can skip the next 4.
The next, the next committee is our facilities committee. Sorry, I couldn't spit that out. Mark was the representative there to the facility. Mark will be stepping aside to assume his role as select board member here shortly. So is anyone interested in participating on that committee? Beth, how often did we meet and what time? You recall, or Alan?
I'll sign up for that one, Greg.
Okay.
I'll sign up for that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. I thought you'd be perfect for it.
I'll do the alternate to that for you, Jason.
Okay.
The New Hampshire School Board Association delegate. Greg, you've done that last year. Would you like to do it again this year?
Yeah, you bet. That's sort of my thing. Yep.
Thank you. Pam was the alternate to that committee. Anybody willing to step up for that?
I can be Greg's alternate.
Would you like to? Okay, thanks, John. The manifest reminder. I did that last year. I can do it again. Before though, Matt, with our new electronic signatures that we've expedited, will we need this role to exist anymore?
We'll likely have items for signature, so it's a good item to maintain on the agenda. But I do hope that it'll be that will be limited now that we are doing it electronically.
I mean, Doreen does a great job. You know what I did it the last few years. I'll take it again unless somebody wants it. Okay. Our last committee is our newsletter. I don't know how many people are aware, but the select board last month voted to eliminate the town newsletter.
Oh,
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
They didn't.
I can't hear you, Mark.
Newsletters from, we're not that big a town.
You were kind of in and out, Mark. I don't know if anybody else heard you.
I mean, the select board, they voted to take the school and the library off of their town newsletter. And I think, yes, so they didn't eliminate the newsletter. So,
Okay.
But I think, in my personal opinion, that is something I've already suggested. I would like to revisit. So I don't know if that's an on hold thing or how we want to handle it, because I don't think the town needs 3 newsletters from, the town, the school, and the library. I think one should suffice. So my ultimate goal would be to make sure that that's returned as a single document.
Greg, maybe you want to put it on hold until the Board of Selectmen takes up reconsidering of that.
Okay, that's what, do we need to vote on that or we can just put it on
No.
hold?
No, we can approve the list as it stands now and revisit it in April.
Okay, does anybody have any objection to that? Okay, so then do we vote on this list as presented, Bill?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to present the reorganization of the Hampton Falls School Board for the 2020-21 school year as presented. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Now, Rhonda, are you doing a roll call at this point?
Yes.
Or do
will
I do that?
I do it because then I can mark it on board docs. So Greg Morrow,
Yes.
Greg Parrish,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
John Bailey,
Yes.
and Jason.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before we move away from this, can Mark Lane, how would you like, what would you recommend the board do to proceed forward regarding the newsletter? Do you want to get back to us and then go
Yeah,
forward, or should we do?
I think what I'll do is I'll make it an agenda item at the select board meeting.
Okay.
And the other thing that I know the select board had talked about, I don't know, probably 3 months ago, was continuing having a combined meeting, whether it be at one of the select board meetings or at the school board meeting. So I'd like to bring that up again as well and maybe present that to them to suggest that we do that at least a couple times a year. And maybe one of the topics of conversation could be this newsletter. But I think it's important that the boards get together once or twice a year.
I would concur with that. For some timeframes for me that I think might be important for the two boards to meet would be shortly after the elections, so that we have new board members coming on each board, we can get to know one another. But I think the second one is just before budget season starts.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
that the two boards can get on the same page when presenting or moving forward with budgets and any potential warrant articles for the upcoming election.
Yeah, I agree. So
Okay.
I'll be happy to bring that to the select board meeting and get back to the school board.
Okay, that'd be great. Before we move forward, Rhonda, do we have to also vote in board docs, or what you are doing on your end covering that?
I'm going ahead and doing it because we're doing a roll call. As each of you tell your vote, I'm going ahead and marking it in board docs to try to speed things up.
Okay. The next item on the agenda would be our February 5th, 2020 minutes. Anybody have any comments, suggestions? Did you see any errors? If not, can I get a motion to accept the February 5th, 2020 regular meeting minutes as presented?
I move to approve them as presented.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
So that was John Bailey making the motion and Greg Morrow seconding.
Correct.
Are you guys ready for roll call?
Yep.
Greg Morrow,
Yes.
Greg Parrish,
Yep.
I'm sorry, Mark Lane,
Yes.
John Bailey,
Yes.
and Jason.
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is financial reports. Hi, Matt.
Hello. So I've included the year-to-date revenue and expenditure 2019, 2020 reports for revenue and expenditures. There have not been any significant variances from prior month. However, I will note that we are monitoring our expenditures. We do anticipate recognizing some cost savings due to the closure. However, that is certainly dependent upon the length that we are closed, but we are taking some measures to, minimize our heating fuels, our electricity, some of those items, and then we're certainly saving, with items such as, supplies or copier charges, or transportation costs with field trips and athletics, etc. And should there not be athletics this spring, we'll save on those stipends, those type of accounts. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does that
Matt.
factor into account, Matt, you spoke at last week at the joint board about invoking or employing some special cleaning services. Is that going to happen at Lincoln Ackerman also?
Yes, so that has occurred at Lincoln Ackerman. So we did sanitize and disinfect the building. We utilized a professional remediation company. That's occurred in the last few days. They will be coming back prior to the reopen of school to do another application. So yes, that has been contacted.
Okay.
Matt, it's Greg. Are we going to be incurring any additional cost to make sure the students have all the supplies they need, materials they need to complete their schooling as we move forward?
There shouldn't be any appreciable extra cost. I mean, certainly there's a possibility for more, wear and tear or Chromebook damage that we may need to replace or repair, fix. So there may be some slight costs there. There's, we had purchased some hotspots. However, and Caroline will give an update on that later. However, I don't think that will really be a factor for Hampton Falls. So I don't, at this point, I don't anticipate extra, any real extra costs. It's really just savings at this point.
Does anybody have any additional questions for Matt?
Is that, I guess I have one more, Matt. Is that a use it or lose it type situation at the end of the year? Or how does that get wrapped up? That sum of extra?
Any balance? So any unreserved fund balance, that will be used to fund our expendable trusts that pass that ballot, and then any additional funds would then go back to the town to offset assessment. Now, as we near the end of the year, should the board decide to utilize any extra funds for a different purpose than what's included in the budget, that's certainly a discussion point that the board can have, and we could look at voting to expend funds.
Okay, good.
Anything else for Matt? Thank you. Matt, the audit governance letter.
So we've included the audit governance letter, which effectively wraps up our audit. So the auditors come in August. We typically have preliminary results in September, October timeframe, which I did present to the board at that point. And now the audit is complete. The audit governance letter does indicate two findings, or not findings, recommendations that I did address in the fall, and that included our policies not being up to date, which we are addressing with our policy committee. And then we had one deposit that was not done in a timely fashion. I believe it was 17 days after. We typically try to deposit all funds within one week. So we are working with our schools or the school to make certain that all deposits are done in a timely fashion. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there no questions for Matt? We'll move on. Thanks, Matt. Bill, the next item on the agenda is our public comment. Do we just continue to move forward like we normally would?
Yes, we can just continue. Let me say this, if there is anyone on and is unable to make public comment and wants to make public comment, we have a joint board meeting scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. That's also posted on our website. We will have, and I'll just say this now, the administration, the SAU administration will be holding a parent forum on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. using this platform, where we'll take questions from the public and sort of talk with them about some of what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes here as to what's going on. So there'll be ample opportunity for people to make those kind of comments as well.
Okay, so at this point, I'll open up the floor to the public for any public comment. We'll give you a few extra minutes or a little bit of extra time here in case you need to email them in, or if you have the ability to participate at this point, please feel free.
There's also the use of the chat feature.
Right, the chat feature is also available.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. If there is public comment as we move forward here briefly, and you want to submit it through the chat feature, we'll do everything we can to get your questions answered. On to continuing business. Bill, I think that's up to you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be brief here because, again, we do have a meeting, and at least
It does look like Alan was, it popped up that Alan Joy was saying something. Alan?
Oh, no, I just coughed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, I joined in. Okay.
So let me, we'll be brief. Rhonda and I, at the very least, will need to split off at 5 o'clock, wherever we may be. But, and again, I don't think we're going to say anything terribly different right now than we're going to say tomorrow at that joint board meeting about where we are. So we'll try to be brief. From part, let me just address that people have done amazing work both at your school and across this SAU in meeting the needs of kids. And you're going to hear a couple of those pieces right now of things that people have done. I want to address just the piece of, we have a letter that will go out tonight or tomorrow morning that will say to parents that we've been advised by the commissioner to signal that this is going to go beyond April the 3rd, right? And so we don't know when. We're supposed to, we hope to know from the commissioner by Friday. Tell you that while we were doing the Seabrook meeting, Massachusetts just extended through at least May the 4th. At least May the 4th. So we've been asked to signal to people that this is gonna be the normal for a while. And we will do that in a letter. We're gonna hold that forum. You know, we're making a list of kind of questions that we're putting together of what ifs, because we've been asked about grading. We've been asked about graduation. We've been asked about proms. We've been asked about summer school. You know, we've just been asked all these questions, and none of us have been through this before. So the answer right now is, I don't know, right? But we're going to try to start putting together what if scenarios very soon. We've actually already started some of that. In addition to trying to support teachers and kids and families in the things that we're doing. So I'm going to ask David and Caroline and Matt and then Beth to just update you on some of the things that they've been involved in. Again, from the SAU perspective, just knowing that we'll have that time tomorrow as well. So Dr. Hobbs.
Sure. I'll just kind of highlight a couple. I think you guys saw the plan at the joint board meeting, a couple of the teaching and learning issues. One is technology, access to technology. We've done a good job of instituting Google Classroom as the backbone for instruction. We created a help desk model where teachers, families, and students can actually submit tickets for tech requests. We've done a lot of work on teacher accountability. That's understanding how much time they're putting in, how much time kids are putting in, participation rates, et cetera. And we've also been working with state testing and national testing, SAT, AP, and the New Hampshire SAS. I'll just leave it there for now. I can follow up with the joint board.
Dr. Achillian?
Yes, thank you. My updates are about our free lunch and internet access for families. So we have free lunch available for pickup Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Seabrook and Winnicott. 2 days worth of meals each day. You don't have to qualify for free or reduced lunch or state benefits, or even have to sign up. Anyone can take advantage of that program. We also have delivery to routes out of the Seabrook location, and we have a bus stop schedule posted on all websites, but in particular on the SAU 21 website, where families can take a look at the bus stop schedule, and they can meet the bus at any of those stops to receive free meals. As far as Wi-Fi, we sent out a survey last week and determined that there are 30 families who indicated that they do not have reliable internet access in the home. So we're in the process of reaching out. Actually today, we're calling all those families because our mobile device shipment has been delayed. But luckily there are a lot of other options that companies are opening up for people all over the country, including Xfinity. You don't have to be a Comcast customer. You can access the Xfinity hotspots anywhere for free. And there are a lot of other options too. They're lifting fees and overages for your cell phone carriers, so for cell phones to be hotspots. So we're reaching out to those families now to make sure they're informed about these options, and we'll have them posted on websites. That's my update.
Mr. Farrar?
So in addition to the aforementioned cleaning, we are limiting access to our buildings just to ensure the safety of our staff and students. Further, we are implementing DocuSign as a means to gain school board approval and signature on documents such as payroll, accounts payable, MS-22, etc. So you will you will see a email probably this evening from DocuSign asking for you to review and sign, and there will be a corresponding text message from me with a unique access code for you that you will need in order to access the DocuSign. So be happy to answer any questions in regard to that process.
So anything from the SAU perspective that we can try to answer for you before I let Beth talk about what amazing work she and your teachers have been doing?
You're asking me, Bill?
No, I was just asking the board members if they had any questions for us, and I didn't hear any.
Okay.
So Beth, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm sorry. This fades in and out on me, so hopefully I can get that corrected. But
Same here,
first
Beth.
and foremost, welcome, Jason, and congratulations, Mark. Really happy to have you on board, Jason. Our teachers, we have gone from crisis management to really sinking into this, and it's a new way of life for us. But I really am thrilled with the parent pickup that we had last Tuesday. We had 100% pickup so that we knew kids had tools in their hands that teachers could begin. All teachers have touch base, of course. They do daily, and the response has been very positive. The behind the scenes between Zach, myself, Melissa McKeon, and special ed, and our support services, we do a lot behind the scenes with parents and families, which has been helpful. I did put out a note to parents yesterday. I think the thing that's lingering is our second trimester report cards, which we will get to hopefully by midweek next week. And I think questions that are beginning to come in now are more into the gritty. What about the end of the year? What about promotions? What about grading? So I think that's the next level of conversation that we'll have.
Yeah.
First and foremost, kids seem to be happy. I don't think that's going to last long. I think everybody is really missing each other, missing the spirit of the school as they should. And I think we'll find creative ways to sort that out and stay connected in a meaningful way. Any questions that I haven't answered? I also want to give a shout out to Zach Lemaire. His behind the scenes technology support has really been amazing.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Bill, next on the agenda is the first read under new
Yes.
business.
Yes.
But before we go there, because of some time-sensitive issues regarding your needing to leave and Rhonda, should we move on to renominations, go into non-public and address that while we still have you here?
We can do that.
What does the board think? Does anybody have any objections to that?
Oh, that's fine.
I don't, unfortunately. I need to leave in 3 minutes as well.
Yep.
Yep. So what's the procedure here? Just like we typically would?
Yep, it's a motion to go to non-public under RSA 91A32, reasons A and B.
Can I get a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second?
Rhonda, you going to do a roll call?
Yes. Greg Marrow?
Now, we just need to say our names, right?
I'm calling your name and then I just get your yay or
That's-
nay.
So we're not,
Greg Merrill?
okay, so, yes.
Greg Parrish?
Yes.
Mark Lane?
Yes.
John Bailey?
Yes.
Jason Farias?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
At
so,
this point, I will lock the meeting. We're good?
yes.
Yeah.
And I will, sorry to offend anybody, but I will kick everybody else off. Remove.
No offense.
You're
And
staying, Beth.
I know.
okay, we now have 0 attendees and
And
all.
stop, and you'll stop the recording?
Oh,
Ed, I would like to make a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation of renominations for Lincoln Ackerman School certified staff, teachers and administrators for the 2020-2021 school year.
I'll
Can I
second.
get a do I have a second?
Yes, second for me.
can I go ahead with roll call?
Yep.
Okay, Greg Marrow?
Yes.
Greg Parrish?
Yes.
Mark Lane?
Yes.
John Bailey?
Yes.
Jason Farias?
Yes.
The vote is recorded.
I'll make a motion to approve the job share request between Amy Roy and Melissa McGuire for the 2020-2021 school year. Can I get a second?
A second? And Rhonda, can you please report my vote as a yes? I have to exit.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thanks,
Thank you,
John.
everybody. Take
Thank
care.
you, John.
Sorry to scoot through this so quickly, guys.
Greg Marrow?
Yes.
Greg Parrish?
Yes.
Mark Lane?
Yes.
Jason Farias?
Yes.
And I have John Bailey as a yes.
Okay.
So, Bill, do you want us to move forward with the first read, or you want to push that out?
I can take you through it because it's merely just an explanation that this is a first read of these policies. If you have questions, you can certainly get them to us. The way this works is we go to each board with a first read, and then they go to the joint board next week on the 31st, where we would look for approval as a second read for all of our districts. So you can get us questions you may have in the interim on any of these, and that's the first read.
Any questions for Bill regarding these policies? And Jason, just, I don't know if you were informed. I'm sorry if I have done this, Jason, my apologies. The policy committee this past year has been going through our policy manual from cover to cover and get everything updated. And this is, I don't know, the third or fourth batch of policies that they have brought to the boards and then ultimately the joint board to approve and then get into our policy manuals. So that's what this is.
I'm going to jump off and go tell people you'll be with us in a moment, Rhonda, okay?
Okay,
Thanks.
hopefully you can open the meeting.
Oh,
You want me to?
You want to, Dave?
go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'll go do that. All
Okay.
right. Take care,
Thanks,
people.
David.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, any questions?
Are we to read these and just give them our approval or suggest?
Yeah,
We're-
so these, go ahead, Bill.
They've gone through a joint committee, that joint policy committee, Jason,
Okay.
and been recommended out. Their policies, generally speaking, as Greg said, that are required by law. And so if you have questions or specific things that you wonder about them, we can try to answer those.
I'll
And
just
then we'd look
email.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, we'd look for approval next week. And don't forget about tomorrow afternoon's joint board meeting, which is just really around questions about what in the world is going on.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Bill.
Thank
Any
you.
additional questions? Before I adjourn, Jason, I'm sorry, but welcome to the board.
Thank you.
John,
Good to be here.
probably should have started it off like that, but I forgot. So, but welcome aboard and glad to have you here.
It feels good to be here. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
I just want to thank all of you for your support during this time. I know you've reached out to people at the building level and in many cases reached out to us. And I just want you to know we really appreciate it. This is a really interesting time we're in. And I'm not sure any of us have encountered things before that prepare us quite for what we're involved in right now. But we really appreciate the support. Thank you.
Is there anything we can do to help or assist?
Not at the moment.
Stay supportive.
Yeah, not get point out for people who are interested those things that we're doing where people can contact us. I mean, if I've heard anything from parents, and I know principals said this yesterday, what they've heard is maybe too much in some cases, and that's okay. An okay place to be. People can adjust from there, particularly in grade levels where they have more than one teacher. People are figuring this out, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I'm going to butt in here, Bill. We're still shaking out the nuances associated with this. I can't imagine the amount of work, that a classroom teacher now has to shift gears and put all of this online. And as you can imagine, we're seeing it on our end with the parent interactions. But I hope everyone's being understandable with the fact that this is 6 days into it, and even that said, 6 or 7 days, it's amazing to see it's coming together quite well.
They are, which is great. They've been very supportive. Rhonda, I'm getting a text from David that he needs us to go.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.